What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Champions League live betting stream. We're pulling out all the stops lately. We're going to have a MLB live show. We've got this UCL live show. We're doing a lot of extra stuff on top of all the content we do for you every single day. Thanks for being a part of it. Brad Morris, Nick Sosnow, Stephen Cook, Eric David in here, Ramos in here, Giovanni, Zach Doyle. Hit the like button if you could. And oh, by the way, review the podcast if you can. That always helps. But enough about that. Let's bring in the stars of the show. You do not want to hear from me today. I promise you that. In fact, I kind of want to just shut up and just be a pretty face in the middle of this, if I'm being honest. We got Buckets. We got Martin Green. Buckets, I'm going to start with you. I do have to just spill the beans a little bit, a phrase that you've probably never heard and is about 40 years dated. You have a video that you're going to post later today that has very little to do with soccer. That is so good. I just have to, you can respond to what I'm saying before we get into the soccer, but I just need everybody to be on Twitter, X, whatever, and social media later today, because this video is worth the retweet. Buckets, go.
Sia, on BPE Friday, I mentioned kind of jokingly, kind of haphazardly, how would we all do if we were on Survivor? Would you last a day or would you win it all like Chip said he would do? Well, I got with a producer who has helped me film, shoot, produce, edit everything, a legitimate Survivor audition tape that I have now submitted to the Survivor cast here. So if I get on Survivor for season 51, it'll solely be because of this video, and I'll share it with everyone after the show here.
And I've gotten a sneak peek of it, the entire thing, and it is so good. And the fact that you and your cohorts were able to put that together within literally 3 days is amazing. Martin Green, we've got a lot of UCL to talk about. How you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you, Sia. I'm looking forward to some really big Champions League games taking place this week. I kind of had to pinch myself that Arsenal are in the Champions League semi-finals. This hasn't happened in it must be about 16, 17 years. It's only the third time I think they've ever reached the semi-finals. So these are exciting and kind of nerve-wracking times.
Let's keep it there, because the one thing I was going to ask right off the bat is just a couple of general questions before we get into these two semifinal games. Martin, your expectations with this being sort of the Final Four here, is it Arsenal? Is that the big surprise? Like, what are the surprises that maybe you didn't expect coming down the stretch?
I mean, I think there's been so many surprises, Sia. I mean, I must say these are all four really big teams, four genuine European giants, which is quite exciting to have four huge teams in the semi-finals because you don't always get that. But the names that have already been eliminated, there's no Real Madrid, there's no Liverpool, there's no Manchester City, no Bayern Munich. Real heavyweights have already been knocked out. So if everyone was doing their brackets, as they say over in the States, before the competition began, I don't think anyone would have had this Final Four.
Yeah, this was actually my Final Four. I noticed Michael Mokri says, Sia Soccer Capper. That's the hashtag that apparently is trending on the Twitter right now. I once, Buckets, you might have heard, hit a -800 play on a side. So I am not just 1-0, but that also means I'm undefeated. Your expectations coming in, now we've got the Final Four laid out here, Buckets. What are maybe some of the big surprises?
Well, I just want to say, Martin, Sia very bravely took Liverpool to score 2 or more against Southampton earlier this season. So credit where credit is due there. I am equally as shocked as the Guru, though, because if you look at the Final Four teams we have, we are going to be getting a new champion that hasn't been seen in the last decade. Over the last 9 years, it's been Real Madrid, Manchester City, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Liverpool over the last 9 years, and none of those teams are still a part of this competition. So I've got no problem saying my bracket is completely washed. I had Bayern going far, I had Madrid going far, I had all of the big teams, and we're not getting any of them now, which is really fun from a betting perspective because it kind of keeps you on your toes.
All right, let's talk about before we get to the bets, some key injuries, suspensions, and then, but Martin, I'm going to go to you on that, and then Buckets, I'm just going to get your reaction to noting those injuries and suspensions and maybe how you're handicapping things a little bit differently on account of them. Martin, anything we need to be apprised of heading to the Final Four here?
I mean, the thing that I'm really concerned about is that Thomas Partey, Arsenal's holding midfielder, is going to be suspended for this game. It was just a completely pointless scrap that he had with a Real Madrid player towards the end of a game when Arsenal were already 5-1 up. So he's going to be out, and that could really derail Arsenal's chances of keeping a clean sheet against PSG. Arteta's got a lot of thinking to do to try and rejig his team to make up for Partey's absence. I think we might see Mikel Merino drop into midfield, Declan Rice playing a deeper role, and potentially with Leandro Trossard playing as a false 9 up front. Arsenal still have really bad injury problems. They're missing their best defender, or arguably their best defender in Gabriel. They're missing both of their strikers in Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. So they're a bit banged up right now, Arsenal, but they keep on rolling. They beat Real Madrid 5-1, so they're doing something right. Regarding PSG, I think they've got a clean bill of health, so that's very, very good news indeed for them. Just looking at Barcelona here, obviously they're still missing their goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Apparently he's back in contention, but it's unlikely that he's going to start against Inter this week. No other major injury concerns. I think Benjamin Pavard has sprained his ankle, so he'll be missing for Inter. Denzel Dumfries could come back. Bastoni served his suspension, so he's going to come back. So most of these teams are going to be at full strength. Just a few key injuries there to look out for.
So, Buckets, you could respond to that. And I promise we're going to get to Arsenal PSG with the next set of questions. We're going to get to some plays here. But the other thing that I think is important to note here for somebody like me who's not looking at soccer on a daily basis is that, some of these players on these teams are playing in other, title races, whether it's Serie A or La Liga. Like, how do you factor that in with maybe, fatigue setting in with some of these guys and where their interests and their energy might be outside of UCL?
It's almost impossible to factor in because, frankly, we have to speculate everything we do and say Barcelona, in theory, should be absolutely exhausted in their matchup against Inter Milan. They had to play a Copa del Rey final against Real Madrid that went to extra time twice. So this is a team that should be very tired, should be very fatigued. I mean, it should be a tough game for them. Not to mention they're still in a La Liga clash for the top of the table as well. So you have these teams playing in Champions League that want to focus on Champions League that can't really focus on it as much as they need to. Now, to be fair, Champions League is the most important thing. So they're going to play their best players. They're going to push through the pain and go for it. But we got to expect to see some very, very tired legs and maybe some star players not playing at their best because of that exhaustion.
All right. I want to get into, we're going to transition to Arsenal versus PSG, but there is a question from Eric David. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Eric David says, still a relative newbie. How do they determine which team gets the home game first? And is there an advantage to being home first or second? Who wants to take that one?
I mean, at this point in the competition, it's just completely random about where they came out of the draw. In the previous rounds, it was the higher ranking team that would have the advantage there. But I would say it's probably advantageous to have the second leg at home, because then if it does go to extra time and potentially a penalty shootout, then you're going to have that extra time in front of your home fans, and you're going to be having a penalty shootout in a more comfortable environment. But Arsenal were at home in the first leg last time, and they beat Real Madrid 3-0 and took a comfortable lead to the Bernabeu. So it can work either way.
All right, Buckets, any follow-up?
Oh, no, I'm going to leave that one all for the guru. He nailed it on the head. Got nothing to add.
Let's go to Arsenal PSG. Let's get to some picks. Buckets, I'm going to start with you. We're going to do favorite sides. We're going to do favorite total plays, favorite props, anytime goal scorer picks. And then, once we do that for each game, I'll circle back and maybe try to get like the bet you like the most, because I know we're kind of putting bets out here, but some of these maybe you like better than some others. Let's talk about favorite side again, or lean, Buckets, in Arsenal PSG.
I want to start by saying that, Martin, I love you. I respect you. I consider you one of my closest friends, but I promise you, without even looking at the notes or the picture of things, we're going to be on different sides here, because I have been against Arsenal since day one, and I continue to lose every single matchup, but I'm going to keep doing it because eventually, just maybe, I'm going to be right here. I think PSG has what it takes, maybe not to win on the road in the first leg, but I think they have what it takes to get a cagey, tough, difficult punch-out draw here. My favorite lean and favorite side here is PSG on the double chance, which means if they win or draw, you cash their ticket. I think Arsenal is like every big team right now. They're tired. They're going through so many tough games. Arsenal's beating the best teams in the world right now, and as good as that is for momentum, eventually that's going to take a toll on you to have to play such tough matchups again and again and again. And even though they are scoring a ton of goals, defensively, they just haven't been good enough for me to back them. I mean, the 2-2 draw to Crystal Palace, of course, they're focused ahead, but they have 3 draws in their last 4 league games right now. I just don't know if they're going to stop PSG from scoring, especially when you get some of those guys like Dembele hitting on the counterattack.
Martin, your response, is he right? Are you on the other side of this?
Yeah, I was just doing the angry face as that comment came up. No, as expected, I am of course on the other side of it. Keep fading Arsenal all you like; they keep winning. I will counter a few of those points if that's okay. We could be tired. Fatigue could be an issue, but I would say that Arsenal haven't played in a week. Having a week off at this time of the season is a real luxury. They played on Wednesday, whereas PSG played 2 days later on Friday. So I think fatigue's probably going to be more of an issue for PSG in this game. Arsenal have had 2 extra days of rest and they're playing at home, whereas PSG have to travel to London for the match. So I think that gives Arsenal a slight advantage, certainly for this first leg. Arsenal beat PSG 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium in the group stage, and it was a comfortable win. Afterwards, Luis Enrique, the PSG manager, just admitted, Arsenal were the better team. They were too intense for us. We couldn't keep up with them. They played us off the pitch. Since then, PSG have really improved, and Arsenal have injury problems. Both their strikers and their key defender are injured, as I mentioned. But I think we've started to see a few chinks in the PSG armour lately. They hadn't lost a single game all season in the French league, and they just lost 3-1 at home to Nice on Friday, despite playing their very best starting 11. They also lost 3-2 to Aston Villa. They looked really shaky defensively in the second half of that game. So I don't want to tempt fate, but I'm quietly confident. I think Arsenal could just get a home win in this first leg.
I do have to ask the question, though. Snug the cat. Showdown? Buckets? Martin Green? I mean, I'm just asking.
I will default to whatever Martin says. Whatever he says, I'll do.
I mean, I'll be so miserable if Arsenal lose. that losing a showdown won't really make me that much more miserable.
So does that mean play the music? Is that what that means?
Go for it, yeah.
Go for it.
It's gonna be a showdown.
Can I just say, as somebody who doesn't doesn't have the soccer background or even close to the soccer background that you two have, I feel like I want to play lawyer. I want to play judge specifically. I did practice law for 13 years, so the trial attorney in me wants to basically hear both sides, hear both arguments, and then just call a winner out for each play, especially since you guys are on the other side. Maybe it's just those. I'm going with Buckets on this one. I think I liked Buckets' argument just a little bit more. So far, don't worry, Martin, it's just 1-0. We'll see how it actually pans out. I think I like the draw PSG double chance. Let's move on. I'm just trying to get Martin upset.
Can I, before we move on, I want to say one thing, Sia. I want to say that this is why it's so tough doing shows at the same time as Martin. When I'm on the early edge, no disrespect, and it's like you, Mikey B, and Matt Schneider, no one's going to call me out on anything.
No.
I could say PSG beat Arsenal 9-0 that last time they played. Everyone would be like, oh, damn, that's a scary number. Martin, you got to be careful because he will whoop my butt if I'm stretching the truth here a bit.
Well, we will potentially find that out for the duration of this show. Let's go to favorite total play. Martin, this time I'm going to start with you. What do we like? Do we like goals?
Yeah, I would also add, I think me and Buckets we're normally on the same side of most of our bets. So it's actually very rare that you get much disagreement with us. I don't think we've ever even done a showdown before. We're normally, I think we're normally quite in sync. So you might not have too much lawyer work to do actually on this show, but we'll see. I'm going for over on this one. I think it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to keep a clean sheet because PSG are just really dangerous going forward. Both their fullbacks are terrific, full of pace and energy. Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi, that is. Dembele, Desiree Doué. They've got a lot of quality in attack. And Arsenal's 2 best defenders, one of them's injured, and one of them, William Saliba's, just making loads of uncharacteristic errors at the moment. He had a terrible error against Crystal Palace, terrible error against Real Madrid. So I think Real can score, but I kind of fancy Arsenal to score twice in this game. So I'm going over 2.5 goals.
Well, it looks like we do have agreement here, Buckets, correct?
We do. My score prediction for this one was actually a 2-2 draw. I just think both sides don't have the defensiveness, what's the word? Like oomph right now to really play for a clean sheet. PSG just have too many dangerous threats, and as Arsenal has shown, they don't really care about how good your defense is. They will run over teams like they did Real Madrid. This is a team that is capable of scoring against anyone, but I can say the exact same thing against PSG. I love goals in this one, taking the over.
Do we have a comment? Ramo asks, do you think Dembele, I think I'm pronouncing that right, gets 3 shots? Buckets, I'll start with you.
Oh, I don't know if he gets 3 shots, but if we wait about 2 minutes, I'll give another play for Ousmane Dembele. But 3 shots is a lot for any player right now, especially when you've got a side like PSG who do have so many threats at their disposal. A lot of times they're distributing the ball all around rather than having like a focal point that we see with Harry Kane and Bayern Munich.
Martin.
3 shots is quite a lot of shots for any player in a game. I know he has been playing as a false 9 in attack for PSG, but I'd be on the under for that.
Joe Neuenfeld says, can't say in sync around Sia. He beat me to it because, Martin, you did say in sync. All right, favorite. I don't know if either of you know the names of the members, but Martin, do you have a favorite in sync member before we get to our next pick?
I know the name of one member only, so I'll go with Justin Timberlake.
Buckets.
I don't like saying I like people without knowing their backgrounds. I don't want to say someone and then turns out he did some horrible crime 20 years later in his career and now I'm backing him. So I'm pleading the fifth, attorney Sia. No comment.
All right. JC Chazé is the correct answer, but I love me some JT as well. All right, let's go. Favorite prop. We have agreement here too, which is fantastic. Buckets, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, it's my favorite bet in the whole wide world. I'm going with both teams to score at -130. And I know people are going to say, that's a little bit of juice. Take it parlayed with the over 2.5. Find another way to get that juice down. But BTTS by itself should not be playable in a PSG game right now. Full stop. As we've already talked about, we both like the under. I'm not going to beat the dead horse here. BTTS is my favorite bet of the entire match.
Martin, you agree?
I totally agree. Yeah, I wrote an article for this on CBS SportsLine, and both teams to score was my top pick for the game. I'm also going for a slightly smaller half a unit on Arsenal money line, but I agree. Both teams to score is my favorite pick, and I think it's worth the squeeze at -130. I'm certainly not averse to betting at -130. -140 would be too much for me, but I'm happy. Anywhere sort of -130 to +110 is my happy spot.
I happen to love how you say -130. I don't know. It's just occurring to me now. Farzad really likes Lance. That's his answer for in sync. And Eric David says Joey Fatone. All right, let's go. Anytime goal scorer pick before we get to our next game, which of course is Barcelona and Inter. Buckets, give me an anytime goal scorer. Perhaps he's come up, I don't know, like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, there's really, if you're looking at the PSG side like I am, there's really only one way you bet this, and you take Ousmane Dembele, anytime goal scorer, at +220. A little bit of a disrespectful line for the guy that has 21 goals in just 19 starts in league play this season. I'm fully aware that league play is different than Champions League, but if someone is going to help break this game open, it's going to be Dembele, or it's going to be the guy whose name is too complicated for me to pronounce. I'm not even going to try to pretend like I can. Martin, I'll need your assist there for the guy whose name starts with a K, but Dembele is going to be my guy here.
All right. Do you want to give him the assist, or you just want to go with your play, or maybe you give us both?
I'll do my best. I think I'm going to go with Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. He's a Georgian winger, and he's brilliant. He absolutely tore it up in Serie A for Napoli. Great signing for PSG, and he's been terrific for them. He's a very good player. Arsenal are going to have a lot of defending to do in this game. Fortunately, both of our fullbacks are very good. Jurriën Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly up against Desiree Doué and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. It's going to be a really interesting game. But I'm going for Saka, Bukayo Saka. He's come back from a long-term injury layoff, and he's been absolutely brilliant ever since returning. He missed the penalty against Real Madrid, but he didn't let it bother him. He picked himself up. He scored a great goal against Real Madrid, and he's just a terrific player. I don't I mean, PSG's fullbacks are amazing going forwards, but I don't rate them that highly defensively. So I think Saka will have quite a lot of room in which to weave his magic in this game, and you can get really good odds on him just to score at any time. But I really like Saka to score or assist at +130.
Speaking of really good buckets, before you follow up, I just don't want to forget to say this. Joe Neuenfeld says, I think I've hit 4 soccer bets this morning because of buckets. It's either 4 or 3, because Jonathan Ardila says 3 for 3 on buckets soccer bets this morning. Buckets, go ahead.
I just want to say a couple things. First of all, we have cashed 2 tickets while we've been doing this show that I posted this morning. So we're getting more people pouring in now to get more winners for me and the Guru, of course. But what I do want to say, I really do like the Saka live. I really do see goals in this game. If you parlay Saka to score or assist and parlay my boy Ousmane Dembele to score or assist, that's +400 for the 2 most prolific goal scorers on both sides of the pitch there. Just throwing it out there.
Wow. I absolutely love it. By the way, Jonathan Ardila, this is the first time I've seen Jonathan spelled that way outside of Jonathan Vegas, who, of course, is a PGA Tour player. So I'm happy to see that spelling. It's a different spelling than I'm used to for that name. Just pointing that out for no particular reason. We have a over 11.5 corners question from Farzad. Martin, take that one. Thank you.
I do struggle with corners, I must admit. It's not a market I particularly like to delve into. This does, if any game is going to go over on corners, this does seem like the right sort of game, because both teams like to play with a lot of pace and dynamism in wide areas. As I said, PSG's fullbacks love to get forward, Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, and you've got Kvaratskhelia, whatever he's called, and Doué on the wings. So there'll be a lot of crosses coming in. Arsenal generally win a lot of corners. So yeah, I'd be on the over there. I'd be on the over, but not with a great deal of confidence.
Buckets, do you make these bets at all, the corners bets?
This is not an exaggeration. I track this because I do so few. I have bet corners 6 times over the past 3 years. I am 0-6 betting on corners. I can't even pretend to know what I'm doing with corners. I'll leave that to the Guru. I'll tail the Guru, but I stay far away from corner bets.
I mean, I'm a guy who bets first round leaders, and I'll concede those are pretty random, but I feel like corners are extremely random.
It's based on how the game goes. If Arsenal goes up 2-0 real early in this one, they really don't have that big of a desire to push. They maybe sit back and kind of close it down a bit. And then you're depending solely on PSG to create those chances to get corners. Or maybe it stays 0-0. Everyone goes cagey for the entire first half. And it's too hard for me to predict.
15 Problems has an interesting parlay that pays +285. He says, Raphael, Yamal, Dembele, and Saka over a half shot on target. So each of them, I guess, have to have at least 1 shot on target, +285. Are we grouping too many players into that parlay? And if so, would you reduce it to 3? It would still be a great plus number. Buckets, I'll start with you.
It's a bit too much for me. 4 legs for +285. It's good value, and over 0.5 shots on target. You got to remember that is a shot on target thing. It's just a bit tricky for me. I'm looking at Lamine Yamal specifically. He's more of an assist player lately with his creativity in the midfield. He might have 3 assists and 2 shots in this game, but that on target just makes it too tough for me. I'd stay off of it.
Martin?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'm assuming that Raphael is supposed to be Rafinha, who has been brilliant for Barcelona. Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem I have there is that Inter are actually very solid defensively. They don't allow a great deal of chances. So I'm not sure if Rafinha and Lamine Yamal will both have a shot on target. It does look pretty good, but not one for me. But yeah, best of luck to you. I think those are some good selections.
All right. Not for me, best of luck to you. Almost sounds like, yeah, you're probably going to lose that bet. But it is +285. I mean, listen, it does seem like, again, I don't bet a lot of soccer, but the more you're grouping in, if you can get 3 of those guys at a really good plus number, which I'm sure you can, I don't know, maybe that's just sort of the better way to go. The more legs, just as a general rule, the more legs you're adding to the parlay, obviously, the more likely you are to have one of those people let you down. Jonathan Ardila says, yes, sir, was going to change it to Jonathan, but I ended up embracing it. My IMDb is unique. Okay, well, now I have homework. I get to look up your IMDb after the show. Let's go to Barcelona versus Inter. Before we get to favorite sides, total plays, favorite props, anytime goal scorer, Martin, I'm going to start with you. Just general thoughts going into this game, because there's been a lot of chatter in the chat about it.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought that Inter Milan stand a pretty good chance, but it's all just gone wrong for them in recent weeks. They've lost their last 3 games. They've crashed out of Coppa Italia. They lost 3-0 to their local rivals, AC Milan. They've fallen behind Napoli in the Serie A title race. I'm not quite sure what's happened to them because they were a winning machine up until a few weeks ago. Maybe like Buckets mentioned before, they may have just ran out of steam. It has been a long old season. But yeah, they just really seem to be struggling at the moment. They've got a pretty big squad, but things just aren't going right for them. I think they could be a bit low on confidence, whereas Barcelona are just surging with momentum right now. So I think, yeah, it's looking pretty good for Barcelona, but it wouldn't be a huge surprise if Inter Milan exceed expectations here.
Buckets, we see Barcelona minus 150 regular time. Is that your play on this game in terms of a side? Oh boy, Buckets. 0 for 1.
No.
In this segment on mute. 0 for 1.
Man, I was speaking. I'm gonna do it again. I've already tried here. No, Barcelona, absolute masterclass incoming. I know they're exhausted coming off that matchup against Real Madrid and the Copa del Rey. It doesn't matter. Inter is falling apart. I've got Barcelona not only winning, but I've kind of got them obliterating Inter in this matchup. I'm talking a 2, 3, 4 goal kind of game out of Barcelona. The money line at minus 150, sure, but that's soft. They're going to do so much more than just win.
All right. Well, we're looking for maybe a better number, Martin, than the minus 150. How are we going to do that?
So I'm going for Barcelona to win the game and over 1.5 goals in the game. I don't see this being a under 1.5 goal game, to be honest. That's not how Barcelona are playing lately. I would have been a bit nervous about this bet, like I said a few weeks ago, because, Inter, kept Bayern Munich pretty quiet over 2 legs. Well, they beat Bayern Munich over 2 legs anyway. And I kind of think Bayern are a better team than Barcelona. But things have just gone a bit wrong for Inter Milan lately. I don't know. They're having a bit of a crisis of confidence. Maybe fatigue is an issue. They're looking uncharacteristically sloppy in defence. So I think Barcelona to win and over 1.5 goals at minus 114 looks like a good play.
All right. Stephen Cook says, good play, Guru. But then he commits the cardinal sin. He says over 1.5 is, quote, safe.
Oh,
Stephen, we don't do that. I don't think there's going to be 0 goal scored now. So, but
if it doesn't, it's all Stephen's fault. Sorry.
it's not us. We didn't get out in that play. Steve.
No, I see. That's what I was, guys. You didn't have to say the quiet part out loud. That's what I was setting up for, recap purposes and those kinds of things. I do like Martin. Judge Nejad does like that argument. The Barcelona money line plus over at minus 114. All right. Speaking of goals, let's go to favorite total play. Buckets. Where are we at?
Sia, do you think I'd be a good judge?
No.
Fair. I agree with you. Let's talk about my favorite total play here. As I've already mentioned, I am big on Barcelona. Vamos, Barcelona. I'm expecting a ton of goals, and I'm expecting them early. I'm expecting Barcelona to score by the 15th minute, and I expect them to score again by halftime. I'm going with Barcelona over 1.5 team total in the first half. That's plus 300. So, yeah, I got to throw one fun, longer shot into this plate. A lot of times I sit in my comfort zone of minus 130 to plus 100. Let's go plus 300, and let's go Barcelona to have a field day on this Inter side.
I changed my mind. Buckets, I do think you'd be a good judge for 2 reasons. One is you're 6'4" and you're big and you've got that like judge gravitas, like when you walk up, you want to be kind of intimidated by the judge. And the other thing is, I feel like you're like just going to be, well, they don't have to like do that, but like, I feel like you're going to like just give the objective take. I feel like you're not going to like play sides. You're just going to be like right down the middle. I think you would be a good judge. Joe Neuenfeld says a good bailiff. That's probably more true. Martin Green, what's your favorite total play in Inter versus Barcelona?
Whenever I think of a judge, I think of Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
He's got gravitas. So you could be the new one.
Also, Martin, not to cut you off, because I want the chat to get involved here. Name a better TV dad, a better sitcom dad than Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I dare you. I mean, go ahead and try. I just don't think anybody's going to beat that particular father figure in a sitcom. Martin Green, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
No chance, no chance. Uncle Phil was a legend. I am staying in my little comfort zone, unfortunately. I'm going for quite a classic bet of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Very impressed with the way that Barcelona have been attacking lately, but I just can't get over having Szczesny in goal. I just think that's such a liability for Barcelona. He obviously retired. He wasn't doing very well at Juventus. He retired. He had to come out of retirement to play in goal for Barcelona this season. He's kind of just about scraped through, but he's made loads of mistakes, and I think he could cause a bit of problem. I'm not convinced by Barcelona's defense either. Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram could cause them problems. So I see both teams scoring. I think it'll go over.
You looked like you had a grimace on your face when Martin was giving that take, Buckets. In terms of the Barcelona goalie, the Barcelona defense, any thoughts there?
It depends on what the word grimace means.
Strain on your face. You were like, I don't love that take necessarily.
I do like the take and I do agree with it. I just want to see Inter Milan play again. I mean, the last couple of weeks they've been playing such poor offense. Lautaro Martinez has looked so tired, but they have so many good strikers on their team. I want to see goals in this game. I want this game to end 4-1, 4-2. So I would love to see this bet happen, but Inter's just been pissing me off lately, to say it bluntly.
All right. Phil Dunphy from Eric David. We've got Danny Tanner, Al Bundy. Let's see, Frank Costanza, Dan Connor, all good answers, but certainly not better than Uncle Phil. All right, we move forward. Frank Costanza is a good one, says Joe. Phil Humphrey Dunphy, Eric David says, was that his actual full name? Favorite prop? Martin, I'm going to start with you this time.
I'm going to just go for Robert Lewandowski to score any time at plus 130. He's kind of been rotating up front with Ferran Torres for Barcelona lately, but Torres played in the Copa del Rey final, so I think this will be Lewandowski's time to shine. He's past his best, Lewandowski, but he has two wonderful world-class wingers supplying him with great chances in Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, so I think he gets on the end of one of them and scores.
Buckets, I'm sorry. I'm bit like the TV dad thing has really just like started a chain reaction here. Thank you, Martin Green, for that. Mr. Seaver from Growing Pains. Talk about a good pull from Gonzo Bautista. Very good stuff. All right, Buckets, how about a favorite prop in this one?
My question for Martin first is Lewandowski healthy? I know he missed the Copa del Rey final with like a muscle knock. Do you think he's back starting in this match?
From what I hear, I don't have many sources in the Barcelona camp, but from what I hear on the news, I think he's gonna pull through. So okay. I hear he's expected to start this game. Yeah, but maybe not. You never know. You never know. If not, obviously, my bet will just be cancelled out. But then I would probably roll it onto Rafinha.
Yeah. No, I really like that. And it's one of the things about this Barcelona squad is you could make a dartboard with like one of the 11 starters, throw a dart, and whoever it hits, they have a good chance of scoring or assisting. This team is just so good. I mean, you've got so many dangerous threats. You've got Lewandowski. You've got Rafinha, who's going to probably win the Golden Boot. You've got Ferran Torres, Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal, Pedri. There's just so much good talent on this team that you really can't go wrong. I'm going to stick with the guy who's made me money all season long. I'm on Lamine Yamal to score or assist. Right now, that's currently priced at plus 100. So you're getting even money. He had 2 assists in the Copa del Rey final. He either has the greatest games you've ever seen or doesn't really do anything. So I'm hoping he has one of his good games, but he is a world-class talent and he's 17 years old. When I was 17, I couldn't do a fraction of what he's pulling off. So I want to see him continue to succeed.
Buckets, you couldn't even do a fraction. Period.
I could do at 17. I couldn't do basic math. This kid's going to complete football, but doesn't matter. I'm proud of who I am, Sia. I've done a lot of good things.
With that in mind, don't forget to stay tuned for that video that Buckets is going to release for Survivor. Now, Martin, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just gave out the Robert Lewandowski anytime goal scorer pick, right? Did you have another favorite prop that you liked that you hadn't given out yet?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. It was it was Rafinha to score or assist at minus 120. I think I might have jumped a bit forward from my favorite prop to my ATGS pick. So sorry about that. But yeah, my favorite prop for this game is Rafinha to either score or assist, because he's just been on fire. He's the second top scorer in the competition so far, coming up with loads of assists. What's up with the bucket?
Hello.
He really likes. I think he really likes that play. I think that's what that means. Yeah, Rafinha to score assist at -120. Yeah, it looks like Lewandowski's 50-50. Probably not. Maybe not actually going to play. So, yeah, definitely Rafinha to score assist at -120 for me.
Well, that's actually it's good that you kind of circled back to that, because when we get to our anytime goal sport core pick for buckets, it's Rafinha, right?
Well, maybe. I'm going to roll a dice real quick and let that decide who we're going with.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's Rafinha. Rafinha
Sweet.
is 1 goal behind right now for the Golden Boot from Serhou Girassi, and he's doing it all from open play, especially if we don't see Robert Lewandowski start. There's no reason not to bet Rafinha. And plus 175. Martin, what's a fancy sounding word for like bad or stupid that I could use?
Abysmal.
That's an abysmal line to give someone as good as he is. If this was -150, I'd be shouting it from the rooftops that you got to put a couple units on it. Plus 175, abysmal.
Oh, I thought you were going to come up with something a little bit more British there, Martin, than abysmal. I was gearing up for a word, like a term I hadn't heard before. But I have one in my head, but I don't want to say it because I don't know if it's like technically like a bad word. So like I don't want to like be that guy.
Do you want me to say it? I can say it if you want me to say it.
No, it's okay. Let's move on. I'll say it next time, Martin, you're on the show, like on the Wednesday show. I will say it. Actually, you guys are going to be on the network show with me tomorrow as well. By the way, everybody, I think that one's at 1:00 tomorrow, by the way. We're going to start with some Champions League stuff. We're going to cover obviously some basketball, probably some baseball as well. But let's get to some futures betting before we do want to answer maybe a couple more questions in the chat, but let's talk about the actual futures, the actual numbers. I don't know, Ben, maybe you can pull up what BetMGM has to offer in terms of the futures market. Buckets, did you like anything in terms of like, we're betting these games. There's only 4 teams left. Is everything completely sapped out of the futures market at this point?
It's pretty tough. You've got Barcelona to win it all at plus 200. I think that does happen. That is my favorite line, but at plus 200, it's not the sexiest of numbers considering they still have to get past Inter and then most likely PSG. Or maybe Arsenal, who knows? I don't know the future here. But I think Barcelona to win it. Maybe you find a way to parlay it. Maybe like Barcelona to win it and Rafinha Golden Boot gives you some kind of value here. But right now, the juiciest numbers are the ones I like. So not a ton of action for me here.
Ooh, rubbish. Rubbish, says Carson K. I wasn't thinking of that word, but that's a good like British term, is it not? Couldn't you have gone there?
Yeah, rubbish. I was just trying to think of more of an eloquent sort of way of describing it.
That's fair.
Yeah, we use rubbish instead of garbage. We don't have garbage or trash. Both of the rubbish is the word that we use for both of those things. This is what I had to learn when I divided my childhood between England and America. I kept saying the wrong words.
I do appreciate that it's the 2 American guys telling Martin he's not being British enough, the only British guy on the team. So I feel like we're doing a good job here.
I looked up the term I was going to use, and it's definitely on the line. So I'm so glad I didn't blurt it out. I had to look it up. It's a British slang, and it's on the line. I probably can say it, but I probably shouldn't say it. So I'm just going to not say it. All right. Martin, talk to me about the futures market. Is there a team you like?
Arsenal. Yeah. Has to be
okay.
Arsenal. I think Barcelona will beat Inter Milan because Inter Milan have just their form has just nosedived. But I think whoever wins out of Arsenal and PSG beats Barcelona in the final. I've seen the word. We don't normally say that before 9 p.m.
I privately sent the word to Martin, and apparently, like, I probably shouldn't say that, right, Martin? That's not a thing.
You wouldn't say that on daytime TV. No way.
Yeah, okay.
But a very good word, and it has so many different meanings. I think Arsenal or PSG, whoever wins that game goes on and wins the final. I don't see Barcelona winning it, unfortunately, not with Szczesny in goal. Maybe if ter Stegen comes back from injury, then Barcelona could do it. But yeah, I think Arsenal or PSG.
I will do this for Ian Lights Out because I like the playing the game thing. It's the only hint I'll give you. It starts with a B. Let's see. I want to make a call here because I don't know if you guys heard. and everybody out there, guys and girls heard, but I'm undefeated with my soccer picks. Literally undefeated, 0 losses. Granted, that's just 1 win, and it's a -800 on over 2 goals for some team I can't remember. But I'm going to make a call here. I've looked around a little bit. PSG is winning this whole thing. Take them at +240. That is soccer capper Sia's call. So I'm just throwing it out there. Go ahead, Buckets.
Can I get your thoughts on one more bet? You don't have to give an official opinion. Just want to pick your brain real quick. What are your thoughts on there being over 0.5 goals in the Arsenal match? It's currently -2,500 if you think it's worth a take here.
Yeah. You know what? That's going to be an official play for me. -2,500. We're going to go at least 1 goal over a half. I'm looking to go 2-0, which is twice as many wins as I had before. 200%, 0 losses. I like it. Thanks, Buckets. Appreciate that. Speaking of scoring goals, let's go to top goal scorer. Buckets, you have anything on that?
I touched on it briefly earlier. Right now, the guy who's leading the Golden Boot race is Serhou Guirassy, who plays for Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund's out of the competition, and he's 1 goal ahead of Rafinha. So if Rafinha doesn't score, and if Lewandowski doesn't score too, Guirassy will win. But I don't see that happening. I'm going with Rafinha, but I think that's like +100. So that's kind of a tough line to give for any future.
Martin?
No, I agree. Rafinha, yeah, I think he can score at least 1 goal over 2 legs against Inter Milan, and I think Barcelona will go into the final as well. So you've got 3 matches in which he only needs to score 1 goal to draw level with Guirassy, and then I assume it will be settled as a dead heat, and you get half the money if he finishes level, and if he scores twice, then he goes clear and you win. I would have been a bit concerned about Lewandowski because he's only 1 behind Rafinha, but if he's injured and he's struggling with a knock, he might not play. So it's all shaping up pretty well for Rafinha there. Yeah.
Snug the Cat asks, does Sia know about the curse PSG is under? And Snug, of course I know the curse that PSG is under, but I would prefer Martin explain it.
I'm going to pass this one over to Buckets. What's this?
I would prefer Buckets explain it.
Damn, I was hoping you wouldn't pass it over to me. The term PSG curse refers to the club's persistent failure to win the UEFA Champions League despite spending the sums on high-profile players like Messi, Mbappe. They don't play there anymore. I don't know what the curse is. I think PSG do well, but I'm still against Sia. I'm on Barcelona.
All right, +240.
I think maybe they lose against English teams. I remember them losing to Man United. They lost to Man City quite recently as well. But they can't because they've beaten Liverpool and Aston Villa in this competition so far.
They had Mbappe and Messi at the same time. Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They and Neymar, but it didn't work.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
weird. They're owned by the state of Qatar. The country Qatar owns PSG, and they're rich because they've got a huge natural gas field, and they just spent billions on PSG on buying all these amazing players. But they didn't win the Champions League.
You know what you need to break a curse? You need a non-soccer capper saying PSG is going to win it all. That's how you break the curse. +240. PSG
Sia breaks the PSG curse.
The Champions League. You're welcome, everybody out there that roots for PSG. Buckets. I don't know what's going on with your camera. It's good theater. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. If you could, review this Early Edge podcast too. It definitely helps the brand quite a bit. And Martin, it's not just the brand, but guys like Buckets, Martin Green, and myself as well. Do we have any questions in the chat? Because we covered, and by the way, hand up, guys, if there's something that I missed that you really wanted to give out. But I'm looking at the chat here. Latora Martinez, TSOA +275. Anyone?
I'll go ahead and jump on this and say I don't really like it just because of his recent form. Martinez is probably the best scorer on this team, but if I was going to pick someone for Inter, I'd actually be looking at Marcus Thuram. He feels a little bit more deadly, especially with the assist part of the scorer assist, and Lautaro just looks tired. Maybe I'm wrong. It's a big Champions League game. He needs to show up, but I'm looking at Thuram rather than Martinez here.
By the way, Martin, I say TSOA because I am very much against an acronym that has TO as a part of the acronym. So this is my way of boycotting to score an assist by just saying TSOA. Anyway, +275. Martin Green, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think it looks quite good. I think if anyone does score, he is their main goal threat. I take Bucket's point on board there. you never know. He is a big game player, isn't he? He showed that in the last Copa America. He was just unplayable. He fired Argentina to the title when Messi wasn't really at his best. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. But yeah, like I said, my favorite in that one is Rafinha to score or assist. No, you haven't got the odds. I've got -120, but yeah, I'm playing it safe.
Jeff Stenberg asks, Martin, Bradley Barcola, anytime goal scorer, +300 feels like a good number for an informed PSG side. How many units should I place on this? All of them?
I've previously tried to convince Jeff not to cash in his 401k to bet on some random lower league English team. I think he's done it. I'm actually not even convinced that Bradley Barcola is going to start. I think Desiree Doué is going to start instead of Bradley Barcola. So I think you might be betting anytime goal scorer on a player that only plays 20 minutes, which doesn't sound like a very good idea to me personally. But best of luck to you, Jeff. Don't spend too much money on it, please.
All right. It's Adam. Buckets, I don't know if you have any response there. It sounds like you kind of agree with Martin there, but it's Adam says, both teams to score, plus over 2.5, plus Hakimi, one plus shot on target, plus 425 odds. Anybody have any thoughts? Buckets, you have any thoughts?
I hate the shot on target market so much.
Yeah.
Solely because I learned just this season that if you shoot it and it hits the crossbar or the post and then misses, that doesn't count as on target, even though it hit the target. I'm upset with this and I'll get over it at my own time. Shot on target is such a tough line to bet on because you need a perfect lineup. And there's just so many good players on this PSG side that a lot of players are going to have different opportunities. I don't know if Hakimi gets one here, and it's something I'd stay off of.
Okay. Eric David had something about 25 minutes ago. So I'm not sure what game it applies to. Maybe we can figure it out by the timing of things. This was probably the first game. He says, both teams to score line I found is -140. BTTS over 2.5 parlay is +110. Very tempting. No? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I could see both of these games being both teams to score an over 2.5 goals. Could be famous last words. You always get really excited about these Champions League games with these really big teams coming up against one another. Yeah. You focus on these great attackers, and then they just get so nervous about losing that they play out a really boring 0-0 draw. So hopefully not, but I can see both of these games being both teams scoring over 2.5 goals. Yeah, I think Arsenal will struggle to keep a clean sheet against PSG, just with Thomas Partey missing and Gabriel Magalhaes missing. PSG very good in attack, but I do think Arsenal should score as well.
All right. Buckets, any response to that? I think it sounded like you were kind of nodding your head. Any agreement or disagreement there? And I guess we do kind of want to get to the closing thoughts a little bit here as we wrap up. If you have a final question, put it in the chat, but go ahead, Buckets.
You said it sounded like I was nodding my head, so props to you for having hearing that can pick that up. No, I agree with Martin, and it's tough because by default, as a greedy American, I always want to bet on goals. I want to see BTTS over 2.5, over 3.5. I just want action. And you can justify action when you have any team big enough like this. Arsenal is good enough to score against anyone. So is PSG, so is Barcelona, so is Inter. But just because they're good enough doesn't mean that's going to happen, especially in a first leg. So just make sure to bet responsibly. Don't pull a Jeff Stenberg and put 200 units on a guy who might not start. You know, I love you, Jeff. Just have fun with it and try to make sure you're betting enough that you can still enjoy the matches regardless of the outcome.
That bet responsibly tagline is very important, not just here on this show, but just in general. I don't know what that word means, Joe. Is that a British word?
Blimey is a British word, yeah. Okay. It's like if you're really surprised, you're like, oh, blimey, cool, blimey, governor. If you see something,
yeah, call blimey, governor.
Oh, blimey, governor.
I love it. I love this. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to give any more hints, and that actually means I'm also not going to confirm or deny whether you have already typed that into the chat, Joe. But good stuff. We're learning all kinds of stuff outside of soccer. All right, gentlemen, I think we're pretty much done here. Let's do closing thoughts. Martin, I'm going to start with you.
Arsenal to win the Champions League. Book it.
PSG, book it. Buckets, closing thoughts.
Jeff said, love you too, Buckets, but betting irresponsibly is the only thing that makes me feel alive anymore. I'm not going to dig into that one, but just remember, therapy is a great tool for everyone. I'm going for Barcelona. The PSG curse will not end. And Martin, I love you, but no, thank you, everyone.
All right. And for the record, just so everybody knows, if you're part of the Early Edge family, you're very familiar with Jeff Stenberg, and he is the king of sarcasm. So the picks he actually likes, but the editorials behind and in front of the picks, that's Jeff just being Jeff. We do want everybody to bet responsibly, and we do want everybody to watch the Early Edge tomorrow and CBS Sports Network tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Normally we're on at 12. 1 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be Martin, Buckets, and myself kicking off the show. Probably, I'm guessing the first 20 minutes we're going to dedicate to some more Champions League action, more bets, maybe some bets where we know or have a better idea of the status of guys like Lewandowski and people like that. So catch us there. We'll cover for the next 3 segments. We'll probably be covering MLB and NBA and all kinds of different stuff. Maybe some NFL draft talk. Who knows? Stephen Cook says, I'll be there. I do want to mention on this SportsLine YouTube channel, there's so much going on. I think we have an MLB live stream coming on later in the week where 4 or 5 of the baseball cappers will basically be on this channel. There'll be 4 or 5 games happening at the same time in the afternoon. And that's going to be later on this week. Also tonight, we have the DFS show. It's me, Mike McClure, Rick Gaiman for the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. So again, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you probably should have your notifications turned on because we're just popping up with new content all the time. Make sure you follow these guys on Twitter. That's at Martin W. Green and at Bucket John Betts. And of course, me at Sia Nejad. Yeah, SportsLine. Ben is confirming live baseball betting on Thursday at 12 p.m. We're going to have about 4 or 5 games. If you didn't join us for the first one, you really missed out, but we'll make it up to you. You can make it up to us by joining us on the next one. All right, gentlemen, I guess I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's Buckets. That's Martin Green. And that's Ben running this show, doing everything on the 1s and 2s and 9s and 10s. It's been great Champions League talk. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining us. We rest our case.